Cannibalism is not just the theme of the movies like The Silence of the Lambs. It is also very common among serial killers in the real world. Who hasn't heard of Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, who killed and ate 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991?
Have a few drinks. I'd have the sleeping pill mixture already prepared. The person would drink it, fall asleep, and that's when they would be strangled.
What may be even more heinous than eating one's own murder victims is feeding human corpses to unaware people. This was the horrific crime that Baltimore native Joe Metheny perpetrated in the 1990s. The meatiest bits of Joe Metheny's victims were kept in a freezer. The human meat was then chopped, combined with pork and beef, and made into hamburger patties. These patties were then cooked and served at a roadside barbecue stand to unwary passers-by. After his arrest, he confessed about the human meat burgers at his trial. Metheny said, quote, "They were quite delicious. Human bodies tasted very much like pork. No one can distinguish the two if they are combined." Additionally, he said that he would never express regret for the murders he had committed, and that killing each of his victims was truly enjoyable. Of course, such a depraved and twisted person does not just appear out of thin air. Metheny's rough background, his extensive drug use, his experiences in the U.S. Army, his subsequent homelessness, and, to hear him tell it, his girlfriend's abandonment were likely the causes of his fall into homicidal madness. The story of Joe Metheny is both sad and unsettling. Early life wasn't easy for him. When Joe was only 6 years old, his drunken father was killed in a car accident. His mother started working 2 jobs and trying to raise a family of 6 on her own. She wasn't able to provide her children with the care they needed. Joe enlisted in the U.S. Army at the age of 19. He had completed a tour in Vietnam, and it was there that he developed a heroin addiction. However, that was obviously a lie, because American involvement in Vietnam had ended at that point. What wasn't a lie was Joe's newfound addiction to drugs, after which he returned from his service in the Army. Joe managed to work steadily as a forklift driver despite his addictions, and he even had a girlfriend and a son. But one day, when Joe got home from work, he found that his girlfriend and child had just disappeared. Joe rushed into a furious rage, thinking that his girlfriend had gone with their child to live with another man. Joe would describe this incident as the reason for his murder spree. After their disappearance, Joe went looking for them for days. He looked in halfway houses and below bridges where she used to get drugs, but came up empty-handed. He eventually came upon 2 homeless men, whom he thought were hiding information from him regarding where his family was. He used an axe to kill both of them he had brought along. Joe was subsequently arrested for these murders, and even admitted to the police that he committed 3 more unrelated murders that same night. However, the lack of evidence led to the dismissal of this case in the end. On the 15th of December 1996, a call came from Joe's factory to the police, due to which the police got all the evidence against Joe to arrest him. The arresting cops were taken aback when Joe Metheny went calmly and allowed himself to be arrested, as they anticipated a struggle from a man as violent as him. After being detained, Joe asserted that he killed a strumpet by the name of Kathy Ann Magaziner the previous year, in 1993. He first placed her body in a small grave at the factory where he worked. He returned to the corpse 6 months later and detached the head, placed it in a box, and threw it in the trash. In 1996, Joe Metheny killed his second victim. He fatally stabbed Kimberly Lynn Spicer in the chest. It had become so normal for him to kill someone that within a month of Kimberly's death, he started selling drugs with another woman named Rita Kemper in his trailer. Joe tried to sexually assault Kemper, but she ran away after saving her life. He chased Kemper and forced her back into the trailer, where he beat her to death. Joe decided to hide her lifeless body at the factory where he worked, but he requested one of his co-workers to assist him in burying it, fearing that someone would find it. His co-worker called the police right away, and Joe was taken into custody that same day. According to Joe, he killed up to 10 victims, the majority of whom were young, white females. He also turned some of the human flesh into burgers. The number of people who ate Joe's burgers is unknown. Joe said about his burgers in an interview, quote, "So the next time, if you see an open-pit beef stall that you've never seen before, make sure you think about this story before you take a bite out of that sandwich." Metheny was first given the death penalty, but the verdict was eventually changed to life in prison. In 2017, Metheny was discovered dead in his cell.